Yes. Okay. I didn't hear the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay, you're good. You're good. Awesome. Thank you guys for coming in for another monthly class session. As you know, this one's about NLP. If you guys don't know what NLP stands for, it's neuro linguistic programming. But there's a whole bunch of different ways to use that in sales and in your personal life. He has his own genre, which he's going to be teaching us today. So this is Philip. He's an NLP. What's the actual title?
Master practitioner.
Master practitioner. And he's been practicing this for how many years now?
Oh, about 20, 25.
Wow.
So he knows a thing or two about it, which is really cool. There's going to be a whole bunch of different tips. This is he's made it specific that it's an interactive class. So you don't necessarily, we're going to put you on the spot or anything, but if you want to join in, he's going to love that and appreciate that. And without further ado, thank you, Philip.
Well, thank you all for coming. I hope that this will be an informative hour or hour and a half for you. I know that there's a lot of stuff going on in your field right now that is still under consideration, and so you might have some kinds of questions about how NLP can help you in the future with your business. So let me start by just explaining what NLP is. NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. Neuro is all of the stuff that you have in your head, all of the experiences that you gained from the time you were in the womb up till now. That involves all of the memories, all of the information you've taken in or studying, but it also involves all of the things that your body has accumulated in that time. It also involves all of the emotions that you have about things that you've experienced. So, neuro-linguistic program has the ability to help you kind of combine your whole system into one active operating program. And these programs come out in the patterns that we use in our lives. The things that you do consistently over and over become patterns that inform your behavior, inform your responses to things, so that you conceive of the world the way that you want to. So how can that help you when you're doing whatever it is you do? Well, first of all, one of the first things that neuro-linguistic programs noticed is that people who do excellent things have to put themselves in certain states in order to do that. So it's a state-based activity. I don't know if you all have been watching the Raptors lately. I come from a sports background. I played basketball in high school, university, coached at the OUA level in Ontario. And one of the ways that people perform excellently is to find a state that allows them to do that. So you need to get used to preparing yourself in the state you need to be in order to be successful in what you do. And so this morning, we're going to start off with a little exercise just to get you loosened up. I want you to, first of all, be comfortable. I don't want you to be relaxed, because relaxation basically tells your body that you're not going to do anything. And you are here to do something. So I want you to have a little bit of tension and to pay that attention to what you're experiencing as you go through our first little exercise. And this exercise is just really simple, right? So I want you to think about a time when you were, let's say, you were not sure about something. You were uncertain. And if you've got something in your hands, just put them down by your chair. And now, as you think about that thing, about being uncertain, just let it come to your mind. Let it come to your mind as an experience you're having right now. It doesn't have to be a big thing. You just have to have that moment when you feel like, I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe you've gone into a room with new people. Maybe you're experiencing something new. And just for a moment, let that settle over. Okay? See what you see, feel what you feel, and hear what you hear as you're experiencing a bit of uncertainty. And then I want you to just take them and just move them slightly. Yeah. Nothing great, just move them slightly. And then as you move your hands, I want you to just take your shoulders and let them relax and open up. And as your shoulders open up a bit, I want you to plant your both feet firmly on the ground. Make sure your hips are balanced. And just keep moving your hands, relaxing your shoulders. And notice how your breath has just changed and regulated. And it's become normal. Notice how your heartbeat has become regulated and normal. And now when you go back to thinking about that uncertain thing, what feels different? Anybody?
Doesn't feel scary.
Yeah. So there's simple ways that you can always put yourself into a state where you can be more accessible to all of the knowledge you have. You can be more aware of what the other person is experiencing. And you can be more aware of how you build that connection.
Maybe it's too early for questions, but like, would you be doing an exercise like that before a specific event, during a specific event, or is this something you practice that kind of you build up that skill over time?
You can do all three. You can practice it in the mornings, for example. If you're thinking about something that maybe is uncertain for you, you're going to a new meeting. You can sort of take 5 minutes while you're having your coffee and put yourself in that state. You can also, when you're in the meeting, because you're not doing anything crazy, you're not jumping up or that, you can just sit down, make yourself comfortable, make yourself feel balanced, and relax yourself by just moving your fingers, straightening out your shoulders, and noticing how it changes your breath. And that state you can now be able to transmit to the other person. Because if you're relaxed, they're going to be relaxed. If you go into a situation where you feel uncertain, you're going to transmit that to the other person. They're going to feel your energy and they're going to become uncertain about why they're there. And that breaks rapport. So that's the second thing that NLP talks about is take a break. Is about we don't really know what will land with people when you're having a conversation, unless you are in sync with it. If there is a break in rapport and their mind starts flying off thinking about something else and they're, worried about their car is parked somewhere or the kids are at home or the dog is being left in the oven or whatever it is, they're not absorbing any information. So you have to be constantly aware of the connection that you're in with people when you are trying to communicate and give them information. So there's no point in going through a long process of explaining the ins and outs of buying and selling and all of that if the other person is distracted or not with you in that moment. So you need to kind of come out of yourself every now and then and just reach across and notice, what is that person experiencing? Are they with you? And you can tell because people will match or mirror what they see. So if you're sitting in a relaxed position and you notice that the person has adopted a kind of relaxed position, you can generally assume that they're in connection with you. If you were sitting there in a relaxed position and they've got their arms crossed and they're looking to the side, then you need to somehow get their attention back. And yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm gonna ask that question.
that's fine.
I love this shit, so I'm really curious about this. So in that situation, is your job to get their attention back first, or do you match them?
That's a good question. Your job is to show them that you're paying attention to them. And that is going to make them, do you know how it is when someone is paying attention to you, where you just feel different? And all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're paying attention to me. And you start paying attention to what they're saying. You know, if you walk into a doctor's office and he's got his back to you reading a file, talking to you about all this thing, and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, what's going on? I have no idea what he's doing. You feel kind of disconnected. But if he sits you down, sits in front of you, focuses on you, you feel like he's paying attention to you, you start paying attention to the information that he's giving you. And that is one of the ways that you can notice if the information you're giving is actually landing with someone. So I don't teach people to ask for feedback, because sometimes that's, you know, what people get into. You know, you're supposed to stop and say, "Oh, are you with me on this? You know, are you following along?"
Does that make sense?
Yeah. What you're doing is you're looking for a feedback loop. You're paying attention to if you notice that that person is actually with you, rather than stopping the conversation to ask about whether or not you're still connected. So look for feedback loops. Don't necessarily question whether the feedback loop is there. And you can notice if somebody is giving you feedback by the expression on their face, by fine lines in their eyes, by, again, what they're looking at in a room when you're talking to them. If, you know, they're staring at the flowers, if they're staring at their shoes or whatever, that says, maybe this person's not in connection right now. And then it's up to you as the communicator to get that connection back. Because in NLP, what we teach is that your communication is only good as the response you get. It's not up to the other person. You're the one who has a stake in the game. So your communication is only as good as the response you get. If you walk out of a room feeling like, did they get what I was saying? Are they gonna, you know, it's the classic example of asking your kids to clean up the room. Oh yeah, Mom, I'll do it. And then you come back 6 hours later and the stuff is still there. And then you have to go through the whole process again. Why do you need to clean your room up? Why is it important? All of that. When if you could have spent a few more minutes just ensuring that that information has been transmitted and they got it, you're much more likely to come back and find the result that you want. So that's the sort of basis of NLP. State management means managing your own state when you're doing something, and also noticing what the other person's state is as you're doing something. So there's that constant communication loop. The other part of it is noticing when you are in rapport with someone and when you're not in rapport with someone. When you're in rapport with someone, it's a great time to make a suggestion. When you're not in rapport with them, that suggestion is not going to land. So you've probably wasted 15 minutes. And you're probably going to have to redo it the next time you meet them. Again, it's going to cause a rupture in rapport because now you're calling them out, they didn't do something. You have to start building it back again. So it's better to take the time to ensure that they got the message because they were in rapport.
So I think it'd be a good focus for everybody here. We do, and we do listening presentations, wire consultations, often we're competing. So we will get one chance at building rapport and then, you know, ideally getting the deal size, especially if you're in competition. What, like, you're not getting it. I'm not coming back for next Tuesday to get an opportunity to do this again. So how do I make sure that in this exact moment I'm in rapport? If I know I'm not in rapport, how do I get great rapport again and so I can get back in and have a chance?
What you might want to do is listen for, are they echoing the stuff that you said? Right? And if not, you may need to repeat it a couple of times until it kind of sinks in. So whatever agreement you've come to, you just want to make sure that they echoed, right? Either by just using a reframe that says, you've got it in this representation, do you have it in this one? Right, so sometimes we represent things in different representational systems. So for example, somebody might say, I see what you mean. Yeah. So I might respond to that, well, I'm glad that you've heard what I've said. I've just now changed the representation system from seeing to hearing, so that I know it's landing in a couple of places. Right? Yeah.
Just a quick question with regards to them receiving the information. There's a difference between them saying yes and that's right. Like the power of that's right is like a triple yes. Like I hear like when they give you the affirmation.
Yeah. You might want to clear up on what they mean by that, because it could mean something else in their head. That's right. I'm glad you said that. Let's just go over what you understand.
Because they can say yes even if it's not a yes.
They can say yes because lots of reasons. They can say yes because we Canadians like to be nice people. That's the first thing. We don't like to upset each other. So a lot of times we just kind of casually say yes to agree with people. You want to reaffirm that agreement again by using slightly different language so that you understand that they have got the real meaning, right? One of the things is that, and I've spent a lot of time in call centers working with people who do nothing but make one-time calls on the phone. And we're told that you only have one opportunity. You're not allowed to make callbacks. You have to close that sale on that call, because a lot of times you're not going to get the person back on the phone. So one of the things I've learned is that the widest objection that you ever get is, I don't have time for this. Even if you get the person on the phone and say, oh, I don't have time to talk about this right now. So you need to understand how to get over that objection. And you might do it by saying something like, Mrs. Jones, I know that you're a busy person. We're all experiencing really busy times right now. But if you have just a few minutes where I can explain to you how this might affect your future and the future of your family, I would really appreciate taking that time with you to walk through it. So you acknowledge the objection, but you give them an opportunity to say, okay, this might be important to me. Let me give them 2 or 3 minutes to say it. Because a lot of times we'll agree with people. Oh, I'm too busy for this. Oh, yeah, I know, because I'm too busy too. And so you're now agreeing with them, and the next thing you know, you've hung the phone up and you've gotten no opportunity to speak to them. So the first objection you're going to get, the widest objection you're going to get, is this objection about time. And you really need to have a way to systematically address that objection, because you can't get to the next stage.
Would one be by providing them not for the time to speak, whether it's just, this is a work for you, you know, Monday at 3 o'clock or Monday at 4 o'clock, or even in the morning, even in the afternoon?
That can be a strategy, but you don't want to use that as the first strategy, because people will bail on the first strategy. Oh yes, you can call me back on Monday. And you call them back on Monday and they don't answer the phone. If you're going to make a suggestion like that, you might say, are you busy on Monday at 4? Do you have some free time at that time? To kind of drill down on the specifics of it. Will you be at home? Are you going to be at the office? Is it going to be a convenient time for us to talk? Right? In NLP, we call that chunking up and chunking down. Somebody gives you an objection, you need to either get to the specifics of the objection before you can address it, because otherwise you're just kind of shooting in the dark. You're taking spaghetti and throwing it at the wall to see whatever lands. Or you're not aware of the larger concept they have in their head. So you may need to chunk down to a specific, what is the reason that you're not available to talk right now? And then you can apply that to the next suggestion you make.
A question, are there any specific sentences or powerful questions that you can ask that it's based on NLP that you should use to get to the objections or to, you know, build a rapport? Are there any like power sentences or something?
There was a thing in NLP in the 1970s, the late 1970s, called sleight of mouth. And it was made popular by a book a guy wrote about picking up women in a bar. It became very popular. And it basically took the NLP language patterns that people were studying, how people used language to express their internal feelings, and then taking that and sort of turning it on its end. So for example, language patterns around the language of possibility. Oh, I can't possibly do that. Oh, well, what would happen if you did? That's the language pattern that people use. If someone says a language pattern of necessity, oh, well, I need to think about that. Oh, I see. Well, what do you think would come if you thought about it? So you're just asking them to sort of go deeper in themselves and give you a response to what they say. I was saying to Ryan that a lot of times we use these patterns naturally. We're just not aware that we are using them. We do it just, instinctively. So let's go back and start to talk about some objections. We talked about the objection of time, and that is sort of the most classic example. Yeah. But basically the form of every objection is, I can't do something right now. That's it. Every expression of an objection is, I, meaning my identity, the person I think I am, cannot, doesn't have doesn't believe that I can do, doesn't have the ability, some behavior right now. If you can focus in on what is the important part of that statement and address it, you have a better chance of overcoming the objection. Is this something about their identity? I can't do that. You know, that's in sports, that's a lot of what we have to address. The person's ability to think about who are they in this situation.
My backhand is forward.
Yeah. Right. I can't hit a backhand. Well, if other people in the world can hit a backhand, you can hit a backhand. Right?
I was affirming that it was a bad backhand, so I said, oh, my backhand's horrible.
that just reinforces your neurology. That's the behavior that you're always going to present. So whenever you go to hit a backhand, you hit a horrible backhand. Right? If you think of it, I am the type of person who can improve my backhand, then you have a better chance of improving your backhand.
We're talking about pickleball.
But so consider when you're hearing somebody say an objection to you. And Michael gave me a list of objections that you have. You might want to just say off a few of them that
Objections? Oh, sure. Pay you commission is one.
Right.
I'm not ready right now. I'm gonna use my cousin as an agent. You guys.
Yeah.
Somebody.
So again, a lot of those objections was a personality thing. I don't want to pay you your commission. I'm not the type of person that likes to give out my money. Right? So, you know, Michael, how did you buy your car?
Yeah, I have a phone. There's no like sales commission, no.
Oh, you don't think there was a commission on the price paid for your car?
I don't think so, no. That was Tesla.
So he sold it to you. So he sold it to you for just out of goodwill. He wanted you to have a nice car.
No, of course, they made off and I'm clearly even must have my pockets a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's sometimes when, you know, people who provide a service to you get some reward for it.
No, I understand, but like the challenge I'm facing is that your commission's so hot. 2.5% of $1 million, that's $25,000.
Yeah. So what would be a good percentage for you?
I've seen guys online who say 1%.
Online. That's great. And how many houses do you think they sold?
I mean, the one guy sells like $300 a year, so he's doing pretty good.
Yeah, and he told you that online. So that's 300 houses a year. That's a house every day without any vacation, any days off, no weekends.
Sure, yeah.
So you see, you can start to slightly break down the evidence that he has that that's a reality.
So are you, I'm sorry, dude, just, it sounds like you're almost paraphrasing what he's saying back to them, or back and whatever, and then, but you're saying it in a way that comes to the realization, is that what I'm doing?
Yeah, I'm just saying that I'm opening his mind up to, are you really sure about the things you're saying?
Right.
Is there evidence for what you just actually said? So that I'm not gonna magically say 2 or 3 words that are gonna make you go, oh gosh, yes, I'd love to pay your commission. But I'm gonna start to make you realize that in every transaction where there's a benefit for somebody, there's a mutual exchange. And that mutual exchange is based on fairness. It's standard across the board. If it's that you want to use your they to sell your house, you might want to ask about whether or not Vinny has sold any houses. Has he been successful? And if he has, and you've got a cousin that's successful at selling real estate, what the hell are you doing talking to me?
No, I like that. Well, that's actually what I was actually come to the conclusion. I was straight to the next line of questioning from me person. Sorry to take over here. I have last question. The question is like in a situation that is a realistic alternative. Like what you're talking about right now, oh, that guy obviously doesn't do that, that's not a real thing.
Mhm.
But what about a fair alternative where you're trying to, sway them in your direction? Because there are agents who just do less stuff, right? Provide less service and maybe less results, but they are charging less, and I think we provide a better result. But it's a different service, not necessarily it's better in my perspective, but
That's where stories help you.
yeah.
You've got to have a repertoire of stories that really convey your values in how you do your business, in how people receive the benefits of what you provide. And if they don't think there's a comparison, then fine. But develop some stories about. I had a recent client who wanted me to work with his son, who was playing football at Syracuse University. They had just moved him from Alabama, which is one of the best programs in the United States, because he wasn't doing well there, and they moved him to Syracuse. He got to Syracuse. The quarterback that they had recruited broke his arm. Their best defensive player went out with an injury, and they were having a terrible, terrible season. And so his father wanted me to somehow make this kid into an all-star prospect for the NFL. And I was like, well, that's great. I mean, I know that you want that, but first of all, how's your kid feeling? Like you put him in this situation now. Like, really, how's your kid feeling about being under the gun now in a program that's having real problems, and it's not his fault, right? So I had to sort of go back and think about, well, how do I get this across to his dad? Right. So I told him just, simple story about have you ever experienced a time when you were asked to do something that was clearly impossible for you to do? And everybody was sitting there waiting for you to do it, questioning you every day. How come? Like, how did you feel?
What if the response to that is, I don't feel like it is impossible?
Okay. Why would you not feel it's impossible if you recruited him to a school that had certain things when you put him there, and those things have now disappeared? Like, he hasn't changed, but the whole situation's changed. So are you going to say it's your son's fault that the quarterback broke his arm? Is it your son's fault that the program is having this sort of difficulties? And how would he fix that? What abilities, talents would he use to solve those problems? Right? So it's getting to the point where you want to give people a wider scope of thinking. They're sort of focused in, they're narrowed in on what they want, and they're not looking at the bigger picture. So again, NLP teaches you to check in with what we call perspectives. I have a perspective, my point of view. There's the other person's point of view. What are they experiencing, seeing here in this situation? And then there is a global context. What is the situation that this is placed in? You need to consider all of those before you can come to a conclusion. So sometimes a client may need to widen their perspective, they may have gotten all of their information about real estate from their Uncle Pete. But does Uncle Pete know about the wider perspective, about the provincial perspective, about the national perspective, about how that fits into how you plan for your future and the future of your family? Is Uncle Pete considering your family? Does he know about what your wife wants? About what your kids want? Does he know about what your financial situation is in trying to attain what you want, your financial goals? Right? I've had lots of people come to me and tell me, oh, my uncle made tons of money in real estate, and he knows all the insights and all of this. And it's like, yeah, but you have no idea what he did to get there. You don't know the bigger, wider picture of it. Did your uncle win the lottery so he could start investing? Did he inherit a house from someone which started him on this journey? Or was he a self-starter and does know the industry? But so you need to take, again, a look at all three perspectives of what's going on. We can always kind of get so tunnel visioned that we are only focused on, okay, this is a great opportunity, so, all of this. But, there's a story of the woman who decided that she was overweight and it was really causing a problem for her. Her self-image was down. And so she went to a weight loss program and she lost weight and she looked fabulous, and her husband left her. And she couldn't understand that he liked her that size. She never checked in with him. That he thought that she was beautiful looking when she was nice and plump and yeah,
Yeah.
right. But she had in her own mind that this was a cause of trouble, and so she went. Now that doesn't mean that she couldn't go and lose the weight, but she might have checked in with him first to help him understand why she was going through this process.
Maybe check in with herself and what was
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is being a service professional goes much beyond just sort of accomplishing the end goal. And in NLP, we call this a well-formed outcome. That what we want to make sure is that what you end up with is what you actually want and will sustain the life that you want after you get it. You've heard about people winning the lottery and all of a sudden their life just is destroyed. And you think, my God, they've won $1 million. What could have possibly happened? Well, all of the relatives came out of the woodwork who wanted money. All of the friends that thought they should have been given gifts decided that you were a nasty person because you didn't take them on vacation. You all of a sudden ended up in a nice big house that you bought with no friends, no family, but you're rich. So the holistic approach is to give people the opportunity to cycle through all of these perspectives to make sure that what you're going to end up with is what you are actually going to want and be happy with. It may not be the cheapest house on the market that's going to make you happy. You may decide to beat the price down and you end up with this house and all of a sudden it is just a money pit. and you're terribly unhappy with it. You may decide that you want a bigger house and everything, and you move your family miles away from where they're comfortable being, where they were happy growing up, and all of a sudden you're alone in that house because they're spending time visiting their friends back in the neighborhood where they were enjoying themselves. So NLP again helps you to understand that it is not just the quick fix that makes people happy. And if you're going to be a great service professional, you're going to spend a little time working with people so that they are confident with you that you're doing the right thing for them. And if you do the right thing for them, it works out for you. So it might be, there might be people out there who, oh yeah, they'll sell any house at any time to anybody because it's easy to do. And they can, use language or language patterns to get people to do it. But does that mean that that's the end of the relationship for you? That when they go to look for their next house, they're going to be looking for someone else, right? I know real estate agents who have become the godparents of people's children that they've sold houses to, because those people have been very, very happy with the outcome that they've experienced.
There's a high level of trust and rapport.
Yeah, that goes well beyond just the transaction. And I'm not saying the transaction isn't important. And we will come to that in near the end, because one of the other things NLP is good for is to find your motivation to do things. Right? You all got into this business
To make money.
right to make money. Not to just make money for a little while. Right? You don't want to become the hot agent for 2 months and then all of a sudden things start falling apart. You want to have a career at making money and satisfying people. And as Michael says, having the branding, the integrity that goes along with an agency that provides quality service to people, that get recommended when other people go to buy a house. People say, you know what, trust these people. They were really great with me. Right? That's the kind of branding that you want. So it's great to, first come in and you're all gung-ho and everything and you're out there. But you need to look at the bigger picture and understand that if you have clients that really love you, they are going to recommend you every time somebody comes to say, I want to sell my house, or I'm looking to change this or that. Try these people. It's recommendations that keep you in the picture for long term. Right? It's the same with my business. I don't advertise. I don't have a banner out. So for me to get clients, I need people to refer me. The only way I'm going to get those referrals is if I do a good job for them.
What's that? It's like a trade. That's in our buyer presentation and in our seller presentation. It's the first thing we say is that I'm not working for you, I'm working for your referrals. But for me to get a referral for you, introduce me to your friends and family, I have to do a really good job for you, be like getting really impressed. So what does that look like?
Yeah.
That's how we open it up.
So what does that look like? So I want you to think about what are the qualities that you think a really good real estate agent have? Just
Integrity. Oh, I was not supposed to say anything.
you're gonna keep it to yourself.
Okay.
Because everyone is gonna have a different version of it. And usually, somebody will have a whiteboard behind them where they're writing all these things down. And these are, with 15 qualities you're supposed to have. But I want you to think of just 3.
Patient?
Yes. Think of just 3
Read the client directly, right?
good qualities, and I want you to just keep them in your mind. Right?
So no more calling out, right?
No more. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna get you to use your imagination. So I want you to imagine that as you're sitting there, there's a circle below your feet. Right? And you're standing in that circle. And I want you to imagine that the circle has a color. See that color. Now, think of the first important quality you think a real estate agent should have. And as you put your feet on the ground in that circle, notice that that quality is there. And it's coming up through your legs, through your body, all the way up to your mind. And you're feeling that quality. Okay, come on back and shake that off. Now I want you to think of another quality that a really good real estate agent should have. And then again, do the same thing. Notice from the circle below your feet that that quality is coming up through your body, becoming part of you. Just notice it flowing all the way through you. Good. Come on back and shake that off. Now for one last time, pick one last quality, put that in the circle, and just notice it coming up through you, all the way through, up your body, all the way to the top of your head. And then come on back. We're not quite finished yet. So I want you to put yourself in a situation where you are interacting with the client. See what you see, feel what you feel, and feel what you hear when you are in that situation, you're interacting with that client. You are working on a sales with that client. Notice your circle below your feet. Notice all of those qualities coming up and through you as you are working with that client. Notice how it makes you feel like you are capable, confident, that you can handle whatever objections come up. Notice how it makes you feel that you're paying attention to that client and you're building rapport with them. Notice how it makes you feel that at the end of it, both parties are going to be satisfied with what happened. And now I want you to hold that for a moment. And I want you to take that picture and put it up on the stage. It's now you and the client on a stage going through that whole process. You're just sitting back in your chair, you're watching it. And notice how you feel as you watch yourself interact with this new feeling of confidence, of purpose. That's it. Now I'm going to get you to do one other thing. On that stage, there's a television set. And it's a television set of you and that client sitting there going through that process. And notice how you feel about watching yourself, watch yourself go through that process. And in a minute, I'm gonna ask you to get up from your chair on the stage and you're gonna do something that you've never done before. You're gonna step into that television. And you're gonna put yourself into that scene with that person. And as you put yourself into that scene with that person, you're gonna feel the energy double. That energy of confidence is just gonna double. And you're gonna become that agent that you've always wanted to be. You're going to be relaxed, confident, clear about what you're saying. You're going to notice all the things that you need to notice coming from the other person as you sit there interacting with them. And you're going to notice that all of those qualities that you've just given yourself are now twice as strong. And just hold that for a moment. And then you can come on back to the room. And then just for 30 seconds, I want you to think of the next appointment you have with someone. And just run through the first 30 seconds of it in your mind. What's different now?
Standing up taller.
Mhm. Yeah. So that's some of the benefits of NLP that I can give you within a 1 hour, 15 minutes.
So is that that's getting in the zone then?
That's getting into
Connecting to source?
Yeah, that's what major athletes do. I don't know if you follow tennis, for example, but you know, Rafael Nadal is famous for standing there on the baseline, and he does up to 23 different things before he actually gets ready to serve.
He always pulls the back of his pants down.
Yeah. You can notice he is getting himself into that frame of mind to do what he knows he can do the best in the world. If you practice this, it becomes a natural thing that you just do when you get into connection with someone for the purpose that you're there. Right? All of the, you know, the sports world is turned right now to the NBA and the NBA playoffs. And you may notice that a game starts at 8 o'clock. But what you don't notice is that those athletes are in the arena at 6 o'clock. And they're getting themselves prepared for every moment that they're going to have to play. They're running it through their head. They're getting their best self to come and be present when they need it. And the athletes that can hold that state for the length of the game are probably the ones that are going to end up winning.
So it's like a practical takeaway, and something I always think like small changes, like are you recommending that you would do some of this, like things like climbing basically?
Yes.
Like how often would you recommend somebody who's never done this before? Like how would you integrate this into your like day-to-day life or week life or?
Well, many of us have routines that we already use to prepare ourselves. Some of it is mostly negative because our minds tend to default to the negative. So if we have a busy or a tough consultation coming up, we spend the morning sitting there with our coffee thinking of how tough this is going to be and how difficult and all the problems we're going to have. You can just simply reverse that by thinking about all the times you've had success. Bringing those things to the moment while you're having your morning coffee, while you're preparing yourself, you know, even preparing yourself, the way you dress, the way you're going to present yourself is one of the methods of changing your state in order to be prepared for something. Another way is to notice your moods. You know, If you are going to a tough meeting and you've had a bad night, you may need some extra time to prepare. Allow yourself that extra time to prepare. But be aware that you have all of the experiences already within you that tell you you are capable of doing what you set out to do. Nobody goes to a real estate program and spends money and spends hours of time studying and spends hours of time taking an exam because they believe they can't do it. Right? It would be, so a lot of times we have this approach, or we're told this approach, that if you learn something and then you do these activities, you're going to get some results, and those results are going to make you believe that you can do the thing. That's not how it works. There's no kid that starts out thinking, I'm going to learn how to be Superman. They just, first of all, believe that they're Superman, and then they start doing the things that Superman does, and then they get a result from that, and then they go, oh, that reinforces my belief. I think I'll keep doing this. Right? So first of all, believe in yourself. Believe that you are good at what you do. If you need more evidence of being good at what you do, then, study. Do the things that give yourself evidence that you're good at what you do. But the first thing you have to do is wake up every morning believing that you are good at what you do. Right? Michael didn't get to the position he's in because he didn't believe that this couldn't happen. Right? I mean, you didn't wake up one day and go, oh God, no one's ever had a real estate business, and I don't think that this could happen, but I'm going to try anyway. Right? He started off with a belief that this was possible, that a little bit of hard work, collaboration with people of like minds, and a mindset every day that would facilitate what I wanted to do will get me to where I want to get. Yeah.
How does visualization tie into this? Like, what percentage of it should be like Michael Jordan sinking that everything? Like, what? I like to use that when I'm waking up in the morning. I start visualizing. It's like practice. It's like mental practice for the actual show.
Well, one of the things about our mind is this: we always visualize things. That's the way the mind indicates. You create an image in your mind of something before you actually attend it. So you're visualizing something anyway. What is it that you're visualizing? Right. So yes, if you focus and visualize on executing well and doing something, but visualize that the outcome is also something that you want, then you will have a success at it. If you are always visualizing that you're the guy standing at the net and the ball is passing you by, because you can't hit it, then that's what you're gonna end up with. Right? So make sure that the visual content of your mind is something that you want. You can then avoid visualizing negative outcomes. Right?
Well, on that note, like so my dad and I used to do this a little bit of hockey, and like we would get a visualize scoring goals, and then like I was trying to play beer leagues. I miss all the time, and I've noticed that I'm having a challenge with that. So as I'm like getting dressed, I am visualizing me not scoring. And it drives me bananas. How do I get out of that cycle though? It's like so negative. I'm like, oh man, if I just really hunker down, I can get my brain the other way, but I can't seem to get there. What do I need to do to get to that moment?
So you need to back up to find the trigger that creates that visual. What is the thing that you think about before you start thinking about missing?
That's big on that.
Is it the fact that you hear a voice in your head saying you're gonna miss? Is it the fact that there's a, you know, that you're focused on the goalie?
You're gonna make me cry here.
Childhood issues,
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's exactly.
There is always a point that we have, in NLP, we call these choice points.
Choice point.
A choice point. There's always a point in an experience where you have a choice to either do this or to do that. Right? So you have a choice. That choice point is usually happening just before you create the image of the thing you want or the thing that's happening. Right? So, for example, smokers. Right? I can't quit smoking. Well, what is the thing that happens just before you pick up that cigarette and put it to your mouth?
Decision.
A decision. A decision about what? What are you deciding to do? You're deciding to get some kind of benefit. And a lot of people look at me and go, oh, you're crazy. There's no benefit from smoking. Are you kidding? There's tons of benefits from smoking. You get to take a break from people. You get to, go and take a few deep breaths. If you're a kid that's 18 years old, you get to look cool. You get to, be the smart ass in the class and stuff. There's lots of benefits. And if you just identify that and figure out how can I get that benefit some other way, then you have a better chance of quitting smoking. Right? It's the same thing with making sales. There are people who shrink from it because just before they go to close, they hear that voice in their head that says, oh, salespeople are all slight. Oh, salespeople, they're all in it for themselves. And all of a sudden, your mind flips and you pull back.
If you believe you're a slimy salesperson, you are.
Exactly.
If you believe you're a consultant helping someone, that's what you involve.
And you can flip your mind from that. That's one of the classic things about reframing. Because that's another thing I was supposed to talk about. Everybody talks about reframing stuff. You can't reframe something unless you know the frame. Right? Well, what is it that I'm reframing? Right? Am I reframing my own sense of who I am? Because I have this aversion I've heard in my family. There's this, talk around the dinner table about, used car salesmen. And I, in fact, was online with a gentleman last night who was a used car salesman. Feeling very confused about he's trying to provide a service to people, yet there are people who thinks that he's not a nice guy. How do you reconcile those two things? It starts to affect your interaction with people. Right? So, first of all, if you're going to reframe something, catch the frame. What are they talking about when they say, your commission's too high? What's the frame of mind that they're in? Because you can't start to reframe that until you really understand what's the frame that they're in.
And oftentimes it's the art of listening.
Yeah.
And the other individual just needs to know that you've had the opportunity to really hear them. It's not, we get so focused on the solution,
Yeah.
but it's the listening and just being able to reframe that so that they feel heard. And that changes the energy.
So is sales a competition to them? That's a frame. Right? Is it a battle? Is it a struggle? All of those are frames that people put around a certain experience. And in order to reframe that experience, you need to know what frame they're in.
They may have had a bad experience with a real estate agent, so getting clarity on that, getting deeper into that.
Yeah. So the bad experience with a real estate agent is in the frame of connection and rapport, trust. You know, how do you address somebody who has a trust frame issue? This may not be about money, it may not be about anything, it may just be the fact that I don't trust real estate agents. Yeah, and in any industry, there are bad people. There are people who do bad things. I was saying to Ryan, you know, any tool that has been produced by man can be used for good or it can be used for bad. It's just a matter of your ethics on how that happens. So, in general, to sum up, NLP has been a lot of things to a lot of people over the many years. It was kind of discovered during the height of the human development experience in the 1970s in California by two guys, Richard Bandler and John Grinder. One of them was a psychology student, one of them was a linguistics expert. So the psychology student ran Gestalt classes, and Grinder helped him to code what were the steps that people were using to get the best results. They then also looked at a guy named Milton Erickson, who was at that time a great hypnotist, who was having wonderful success with people. And they also codified some of the language patterns that he used to do it. But be aware, first of all, that it's not it's not an easy approach to take because you need to know the backgrounds of these people. Milton Erickson was a well-known hypnotist, psychologist. He was president of the American Psychological Association, Hypnotic Association, many others. He'd written many books. The clients that came to him had to travel to Phoenix, Arizona, because he never went anywhere to see him. So when they got there, they were highly motivated to make a change. Right? They came across the country, spent tons of money, and this was back in the 1950s and 60s, in order to see him a one-shot deal to get help. So they were highly motivated to do it. Bandler and Grinder were experimenting in a field that a lot of stuff grew out of. I don't know if you've heard of Myers-Briggs. They were also part of the movement. The Suzuki movement also came out of that. There was a lot of interest. There was a lot of activity within that field in itself. It led to them working with the Navy SEALs, with the astronauts, but it was always focused on people who were highly, highly motivated to receive this information. Right? Your challenge is that you're working with everyday people. Right? They have busy lives. They've got kids, they've got all kinds of stuff going on. They have medical problems. They've got all kinds of things. So it's not an easy thing to do what you do. So recognizing that, you need to really focus on preparing yourself for every day that you go out there.
It's all mindset. All goes back to mindset.
Yes.
And personal sense.
Yeah.
How you prepare yourself. What on your head, what the outcomes are.
Yeah. What's the other person's mindset? And managing that as best you can, right, in your interaction. But always remember, take care of yourself. Get your rest when you need it. go home after a day and allow yourself to relax and let go of some of the stuff that's happened. Realize that the sun comes up tomorrow. It's another day. You're gonna have the same challenges. So again, prepare yourself. Right? And if you are needing to get some energy and input, you've got all of these people available to you, all of your colleagues available to you, that you can come and chat with and talk to and get advice, exchange stories, so that you're not feeling like you're trying to do this all on your own. Right? That's the message about NLP, is that we live in a holistic world. We're not alone on this island. At times it may feel like that, but you can reach out to other people to get energy, motivation, new ideas, expand your points of view. And that is going to help you in the future with the things that you need to do. So any other questions?
I think just one thing I wanted to share is, can anybody relate when you dress up, you get ready for the day, you come to the office, you start doing affirmations, how you're just in this, like you're ready for business. Compared to another day where you're just at home, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna, like, it's, you have to be available and ready and get in that kind of state to be able to send the vibes out to the universe that, hey, I'm ready to help people.
Yeah. And one other thing about calling, cold calling, warm calling, whatever it is. The reason that you make those calls, do you know what it is? It's because if you don't, somebody else will. There's no, I go down the streets, I see sales signs all in front of houses all the time.
See our space.
So if you just keep that in mind, that if you're not making the calls, there's somebody else out there making the calls.
You can be a shitty agent, saving on.
Yeah. And don't make too big of a deal of it, because
Yeah, it's a phone call. You know, I walked into a guy in a park this morning, feeling so great about coming here, I didn't realize I didn't even know. Yeah, it said good morning.
Oh, it was nice to
Yeah. So it is, it's about the realization that you're not doing stuff that's stopping the world. You know, calling somebody to see if they want to invest in their future is not, you're not giving them a heart attack. Okay.
It's how it feels like.
Absolutely not. The heart attacks gonna come when they realize that they missed an opportunity. Right.
You saved them from a heart attack.
We're fine.
Nice.
So that's all I have to say this morning.
Thank you.
Just to say thank you.
Oh, so much. Yeah, it's been great. You guys will know this. Philip actually made some space for us. We had somebody who was going to teach this class. I hadn't yet spoken to him, and 2 weeks ago I jumped on board, which is really awesome. Really appreciate the last minute Phil, because he's a busy man. Also coaches NLP, if anybody wants to go to the next level. Kate's going to send out Philip's information about that. So thanks for coming in for our series. We do one a month. Next month coming up, we have the last Wednesday of the week. We have Jamie Purvis coming back. It's gonna be some stuff similar but a little bit different angle, which is great. So stay tuned for that. And we're also gonna start doing monthly sales meetings as well. So I'm probably thinking the second Wednesday of every month, and then the last Wednesday of every month we do the in-house training. So kind of split it up a little bit. So look for those, yeah, and like your market updates, and we can go through some of the struggles we're having, et cetera, as a group. Those ones will be, I'm gonna do them here or here, depending on how many people are showing up. We're also gonna put those on Zoom for people who are like, people that come from far away. But I wanna keep a regular conversation going. But most of all, I just had your attention, so I didn't use that opportunity. Thank you so much, Philip. That was amazing.
I'm very, very good.
You're a great man.
I think,
Same nice, I think,
yeah.
so. My fiance's up there, she doesn't talk about me like this. So thank you so much. Nine AM.
Kind of like an island, you're right, I'm feeling like I'm connected.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's
no,
good you're
I know, but it's been shitty.